Oops. Yeah, I thought I had that one. But hey, even monkeys fall from trees. The car had too much speed on that one. So, the important thing here is to keep the weight transition smaller. Delicate weight shifting is the key here. Like here, I go in like this, but I'll let go of my brakes early.
You can tell by looking at the G-ball that the weight transition is smoother compared to the S14.
This is how you drift with cars that have strong oversteer. Countersteer as soon as the tail slides. Earlier countersteer is important, and the speed, you have to start countersteering at high speeds like this. That's how you drift with oversteer cars like the MR2. The difference between the cars I've shown today is like this. The S13, the car with strong understeer, needs big weight shifting. The S14, which has neutral steer, only needs braking drift technique to go into the corners smoothly. Whereas strong oversteer cars, like the MR2, need stability as you brake into the corner. You're carrying a heavy load of weight in the rear that makes the car unstable and wobbly when you're going in. So, stabilize the rear weight and go into the corner, adjusting the amount of your braking according to the steering angle. The amount of weight transition is about half of what you have with an S14. And with only half the pressure on the brakes, these cars can turn in at the same angle as the S14. The S14's countersteer is sharp compared to that of the MR2. So what must be done on the MR2 is the exact opposite. When you steer in, let off the brakes early. The tail end will react and start to slide. Then you countersteer. On the S14, I countersteer at this rate. But on the MR2, I steer like this and wham. That's the kind of difference in steering speed. But the important thing here is the speed of your countersteer. Not just here on the first hairpin, but here on the S-curve, and right here as well. When going downhill, the weight becomes larger, so the rear becomes easier to get thrown out. So it's better to turn small here on the first one, so that you can drift on the second corner. Same here. You don't want any understeer or get thrown towards the outside on the first one, as these cars with strong oversteer won't be able to recover by the second corner that's coming right up. So, just turn small on the first one, and on the second one, just lightly step on the brakes or let go of the gas to get the momentum change. Then you can control with a quick countersteer. Compared to FR cars, these mid-engine cars have good traction. Therefore, the driver has to act quickly and perform the next move earlier. You can wait for the tail slide to ease down a bit before you hit the gas on FR cars. But on these mid-engine cars, you don't wait. But you hit the gas while the car is still sliding. You have to get the car to power slide immediately. And without stopping the tail slide you're in during the midsection of the corner. Everything has to be done earlier on mid-engine cars compared to FR machines.
Mid-engine cars, like the MR2, have heavier loads towards the rear compared to FR cars. So mid-engine cars tend to have a stronger grip with the rear tires. Hitting the gas early makes the rear tires lose traction, which enables the car to slide and drift. The big difference between the S13 and the S14 is that the action needed to trigger the tail slide is smaller. You don't need big braking maneuvers or steering work to slide the tail and drift. Further, by checking the different laps, you can see Tsuchiya stepping on the brakes with more pressure, but the tail doesn't slide. So he gives it gas, but even that doesn't make the car slide. The last thing he did was letting off the gas to get the car to go sideways. This proves how Tsuchiya can instantly change his applied techniques according to the situation he is facing.
Okay, now, how do you drift with a car that doesn't have much power? What I'll be explaining to you here is from way back when I used to drive the Hachiroku every day and night. And that's like 15 years ago. With this car, it's all about flooring the gas pedal all the way from the entrance to the exit. This car's been nicely lowered as well. Mine used to look like this. You have to step on it to make this thing go sideways. With these underpowered cars, you just have to keep the gas on to get it into power drift mode. I just killed the power. But it's great that I can constantly floor this thing. This is great. I'm flooring it. It's so cool. I wish Toyota could make cars like this again. Shift down and put the pedal to the metal. It feels great. Just the right amount of power to have fun. This kind of power is just right for these M7 tires. Feels good. Now, this is fun. I'm literally flooring it the entire way. Do you know any other car that can do this? It's just great. What I'm doing is simply turning the car with the gas pedal. Step on the gas to make it turn. Brake and shift down, then step on the gas again. Step on it to let the rear go. You have to keep revving it within the torque band. Oops, I dropped it. Whoops. The instant you fall out of the torque band, you stop drifting. So make sure you rev it up enough to keep it up there. This is what I mean. So, how was drifting with an underpowered Hachiroku? This car is a classic, and it will be a classic for years to come. Did you know I taught Takumi from Initial D how to drift in one of these? Okay, the first hairpin. What am I doing? I'm simply turning the car only with the gas pedal. This is the biggest difference from other cars. This is quite a technique, definitely for advanced drifters. You need to use this here on the first hairpin, and here on the S-turn. And here. I use a combination of the braking drift and dynamic drift. It's the same here as well, but on the final corner, these old cars have tendencies to understeer. So, what do? You step on the gas and turn the car sideways. Let's check the steering work for the first corner. You come down the straightaway in third gear, so shift down to second, steer into the corner, but the the car is understeering, step on the gas all the way and let the rear slide. Then you let go of the gas, wait. But if you wait too long, you'll lose too much rev, and your drift power will stall. So, after you give it gas all the way to make the tail slide, countersteer. And as you do this, place your foot on the gas, just to keep the rev within the torque band. This is how you drift right from the corner entrance to the exit. And this is also the reason why an underpowered classic like the Hachiroku can go up against the high-tech power machines of today. I'm turning using the gas pedal at all corners. You know, you may be able to drift in other cars, but drifting through the corners from entrance to exit in an underpowered car is a tough task to pull off. And that's why people who say they can drift in a Skyline, Supra, MR2, or a Silvia can't always go sideways in a Hachiroku. This is because you really need to know your stuff to keep the underpowered car drifting through corners. And to get this done, you must master the 6 basic techniques to make your drift perfect.
Let's check the Hachiroku on the final corner. In this corner, a standard braking and shift lock triggers the car to drift, but the throttle control from here is different. Tsuchiya floors it immediately to keep the car sliding all the way from the entrance to the corner exit. He's purposely letting the wheel spin a bit so he can control the tail slide with little power. He's driving while constantly maintaining loose traction. These 6 techniques and their various application make the Drift King go sideways.
How did I become the Drift King? I can only say that I was driving day and night. I guess people call it practicing and hard work. But to me, I was just having fun out there. To enjoy driving, or shall we say practice for now, all you need is some safe, clear space. This will be enough. Let's start with a 180-degree turn. The first thing I tried, right after I got my driver's license, is this. Pull the e-brake, and try to end up facing the direction I came from. In my days, it was cool to be able to do this and get it right. You know, you guys have these cones or pylons now, but in my days, we didn't have anything like that, nor were we smart enough to think of using one. If I had these cones back then, I would have improved much faster. Obviously, in the beginning, I couldn't get it right like this. It used to be like this. I was scared and didn't know how fast I should be going, so I would stop like this. But turning the car in the direction that you came from without stopping the engine means that the driver is stepping on the clutch to turn the car around. In the beginning, it's okay to mess up and stop facing the wrong direction or even stall the engine. But don't get scared. Just try it in a safe, closed environment. And once you learn how to turn 180 degrees with an e-brake, your next step should be making 90-degree turns. I never did this on the streets. The important thing is to keep trying, and of course, practice in a safe place. Turning 90 degrees is a cool trick. Let's say this is a right-angle corner, and you go like this. This 90-degree turn is easy once you get the hang of pulling the e-brake, adjusting your speed, and countersteering to face the right direction. Once you master these 2 techniques, you'll want to install an LSD. You'll be able to turn 180 degrees and move on to doing 360s without stalling the engine. But remember, this is after you've completed the 90 and 180-degree turns. Believe me, you will be able to do this only if you know the basic techniques of sliding the car from a simple tail slide to a power slide, adjusting the drifting with your gas pedal. The LSD really comes after you master the basic techniques. The important thing here is to discover how much fun it is to play with your car. Like here, I can turn just by pulling the e-brake. When you learn to do this correctly, you'll want to do it on the track.
The main objective of this special training program is that you have fun driving your car. If you have fun, you'll be calm enough to sense the behavior of your car, and at the same time, you won't be scared of your tail sliding anymore.